Hey, speaking of going to gigs, there's a new charity that is coming to the Central Coast called Gig Buddies. And last week we looked at volunteering on the Central Coast during Volunteering Week. And we didn't get to this one, but it's such a good story. Gig Buddies will find out all about it, particularly people who may have a disability who can't get out and about, or can, but they have to go with a carer, which is usually a family member, usually mum or dad. And if you're a young person, dragging mum or dad along to the mosh pit at a heavy metal gig, not real cool. But if you've got someone there with a long mullet and who loves heavy metal, and you're together, it's just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. It's a brilliant idea. It's taken off in Sydney, and it's going to take off here on the Central Coast as well. We'll find out all about Gig Buddies up next. It's 7 to 9 ABC Central Coast. And isn't it great when you meet people who are into the same thing that you're into? I can talk to people about fly fishing for hours. No one here. They all glaze over. As soon as I mention fly fishing, they run for the door. But then you get a fly fisher person, a fly fisher woman or man, and boy, you're great buddies straight up. For some people with disabilities, getting to gigs and events can be very challenging, and they miss out if there's no one available to take them. I mean, fancy dragging your mum off to the latest heavy metal gig. Poor mum. Gig Buddies is a new organisation on the Central Coast which pairs up people with disabilities with others who share the same passion. Matthew Collins is here to tell us more.
We tackle social isolation for adults with mild to moderate learning disabilities or autism. We do this by pairing up an adult with disability with a volunteer, both of whom share a mutual interest. They catch up once a month and they go to gigs of their choosing. So, if you're into footy or rock music, we'll try and find a volunteer who shares the same passion. It's all about adults with disability really staying up late and not being reliant on support workers or family members to go out with. As research has shown that adults with disability are prone to social isolation, and that's for a number of reasons, such as fear of travelling alone, fear of going to new places, or not having anyone to go out with. We tackle that by providing an adult with disability with a volunteer.
What if you love cricket or loved footy and you can't get to see your team? Is that also part of it? It doesn't have to be a musical gig? Or
absolutely.
Could be theatre?
No, absolutely. So gig is a very loose term in Sydney, and we've been set up down there for about 6 years. We've got some very niche requests, if you like, from buddies. So look, our attitude is if whatever your gig is, we will try to find you a volunteer who shares the same passion as you.
Can you share some of the stories? This must be a very rewarding area of volunteering.
Yeah, absolutely. So, like you said in the intro, we're new up here, but in Sydney we've been going for 6 years, and I can think of so many people who had to go out with, say, mum and dad. And I don't know about you, Scott, but can you imagine the last gig you went to? If you had to take your parents with you, what would that be like?
Yeah,
it's quite disheartening.
No offence to mum, but I don't think I would have had such a good time. This is too loud. Who's Silverchair? I hate Silverchair.
This is it. So we hear so many of those stories, but also adults with disability who have to go out with a support worker. Now, the issue with support workers is that, they're primarily paid to get a client from A to B as safely as possible. And, if they knock off at 10 o'clock, but a gig finishes at 11 p.m., well, that means the person misses out. So we hear from so many adults with disability who miss out on events of their choosing.
Would that also eat into their NDIS money, for carer respite and all the things that, which is a great system, but finite resource, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we can be included in the NDIS, but you're absolutely right. From a participant point of view, it's difficult to go out to events of their choosing. So we emphasise that the volunteer benefits just as much as the buddy. I've done so many meetings where the volunteer at the end has said thank you because now they've got someone to go out with. We emphasise this is not a free support worker. This is about two people who love the same passions, going out and having fun together.
What are some of the stories that you hear? What's some of the feedback you get from both the gig goers and their buddies?
I can think of one particular buddy in Sydney who, like I said, had to go out with mum and dad, and it was difficult. This person's into really heavy rock music. So you can picture it now. But but now we found this buddy, a volunteer who shares that same passion, who loves it. So they get in the mosh pit now. So it's all about that. People just getting involved and doing things they want and having that opportunity. That's the key thing, I think. So many people have been deprived of that opportunity to do what they want, and we then notice that people increase their social skills. So we're big on empowerment and development, if you like. So I remember we went to a Christmas party in the city in Sydney, and one client, one gig buddy said to me, "Oh, Matt, I want to buy a drink. I want to go to the bar." And I said, "Well, there you go." And at the time, I had my hands full with other issues, and he came back to me. He goes, "Matt, that's the first time I've ever ordered a drink myself at a bar." And I was like, "That is amazing." In that night, he went around and told everyone that he ordered his first ever pint, was his first ever schooner at the bar. So little things like that, those sort of innocuous pluses, if you like, are so important to us. And that can be anything from potentially tapping on for an Opal card for the first time. A support worker or a parent might do that, to ordering tickets online. So, and we've noticed that people who've had this increase in confidence has then led to potential job opportunities. Because you can travel to the city for a gig, or can you travel to the city for work? So there's so many plus points as well.
What about friendships between the gig buddies? Do they really cement strong friendships?
Absolutely, yeah. We're key on that. We're really big on people expanding their friendship groups, and we emphasise that the volunteer benefits just as much as the buddy in that sense.
It's a wonderful idea, great initiative. How are you bringing it to the Central Coast? How can people join in?
We're looking for adults who are 18 plus. All volunteers receive training and are vetted. And in terms of signing up, they can go to our website, gigbuddiescentralcoast.org, or they can check us out on social media, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter.
Matthew Collins, wonderful initiative, great thing, great program to talk about during Volunteering Week, and I'm sure plenty of people will put their hands up to become a gig buddy here on the Central Coast.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for your time, Scott. Really appreciate it.